Welcome back to the Champion Series. The United States Disc Golf Championship just concluded, and it wasn't Paul Macbeth, it was Anthony Barela who took it down. Massive shout out to Anthony, and taking it down, he played pretty incredible disc golf. And him throwing those big Z Lunas definitely gets you thinking, am I doing something wrong by not throwing the Lunas? We're gonna find out today. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna build whatever I can with what he bags, including this 4 claw. And then we're gonna go find any missing discs from Replay Sports. They have the largest used bin selection in North America, so I'm probably gonna find most of those. So let's get into what he bagged. So let's talk about what we're gonna be bagging today. This is out of my own personal collection. I did go pick this one up brand new from Replay Sports for this video. I think this was like a $17 disc I bought, but I didn't have it. I didn't want to record in Replay that I was buying it because Doug, the owner of Replay, did not know who won yet. So I had to be careful as I went through there, but here's what I have from my own collection. We got two big Z Lunas, one understable, one overstable. Got a nice Z zone, really similar to what he throws. My 4 Claw Buzzz, a different Buzz, a little bit more like the Z plastic. I got a crystal Raptor like he throws, and I've got the Ezra Nuke and the Venom that he was forehanding and throwing a lot during this tournament. So that one will be interesting to see. So now that I've at least got from my own inventory, let's go to Replay Sports and see what else I can add into the bag based on what they have. I am going to be looking for a couple of discs, including a big Z Malta. So I think from his video, he said he was throwing ESP. Looks like, at least from last week's win, throwing that. Unfortunately, no Cigarras in the used bins. So I'm going to pick up 2 Anaxs. I got this one, which feels like it might be a little bit more understable. And then I found the one I used from the Paul Macbeth video, which I know is a little bit more overstable. There were a ton of nukes to look through. Ended up kind of just going through ESP first, and I found this really nice Page Pierce ESP nuke. Then I was looking for a couple of their discs and came across this Nuke OS. This is like an earlier Z plastic pre-flight number. It feels really overstable, and I ended up finding not the exact run of cap wrap he throws, but I did get another cap wrap that was a little bit gummier, and I found 2 of his 2025 Tour Series Venoms, including this ridiculously smoky opaque Z Swirl one. That was only $10 in the used bin. Both of those were pretty brand new, so I'm going to pair that up. And then he also throws a big Z Nuke. So that's for like rollers, and this one, I think is the closest thing I could find, that red Z Nuke, to what he throws. So that's what's in the bag today. Got my little Pit Vipers on, just like he has. Well, I feel like a lot of times you see him with those on, so I figured throw it for hole 1. And that squirrel was kind of going, hey, let me jump in the video here before we start. This one's pretty straightforward. Didn't give it enough here with a big Z Luna. This is what I'm really interested in learning about today. I'm going to look at his putting style, what he throws, and a lot of the times he's using those backhand approach shots with the big Z Luna. But first putt with the CT Swirl Focus. Actually, was a little bit more overstable than I thought. I thought with the shape of it, it wouldn't be quite as overstable, but we're gonna learn more about that putter. This shot got incredibly lucky because I hit off that tree. There is a creek you can see right in front of me that could have ruined this hole for me. So I shot this one about 260 feet from the pin, just going with, a Z zone to get us started here. So we're at even par at the moment. This putt will get us to 1 under. So we're able to nail that one. And then he was throwing his red Z Nuke a ton. I tried to find one that was as close to what he was throwing as possible. So this one is pretty far on the right. I will say this Z Nuke was way more overstable than I thought it was going to be. So we're outside a circle here, probably 35 to 40 feet. Just doing a single step, and we're able to cash that one. I was pretty excited about that. And also know now that nuke is quite overstable. And this one, I normally do throw like a flex forehand in, and I decided to go with my more understable Big Z Luna to try to get some glide. And it somehow worked out. That's maybe just inside a 300-foot shot, but it just stays in the air. It's a little bit longer putt here, kind of more towards the edge of circle. We were able to nail that one. And something I'm exploring throughout this video, he gets the disc really flat to his body before he throws. So something to look at. We'll talk more about it, but I'm going with a more overstable Big Z Luna because This one's got this creek that follows along the right-hand side. You do not want to end up throwing a flippy disc. I normally forehand flip a glow Berg. So this is me really trying to like kind of get a feel for his putting style. And what I noticed was I was kind of surprised, like going so flat and changing the nose angle so much, I was still releasing it on the right angle, and I was still releasing with a lot of pace. So it's something that kind of took me by surprise. But this one, really short one. It's a very touchy shot. It's only about 250 feet, and throwing the big Z Malta. So I wanted something to swing in, and it really did that for me. Just a little bit, not enough power, I would say, on that one. And we're putting that one. You can see my arms kind of pop up there. I'm just like, what? How is this working? I'm trying a different putting style. The disc doesn't feel like it's going to be super overstable, but it is. And this one we're playing from the short pad because the long pad's almost falling into the creek. And the way that he throws his Venom, I don't know how he gets so much pace, so much power on it, but it's truly impressive. We're still about a 400 feet hole on this one, and I was watching him kind of do some standstill putts from well outside circle 2, and he was making them. He was having his disc turning over, so he's got a lot of power. And this one, I didn't want to lose the disc I was borrowing just for this round. Ended up going with the Cap Rat, or just the normal Crystal Raptor, win OB. So I'm going to re-tee, throw the disc I should have thrown the first time, which is the Cap Rat. I'm able to luckily park it. This creek it can eat some discs. Definitely out of bounds on that one, so we're taking a bogey on this hole. Next up, I would normally throw my Melita. Like, that is actually legitimately what I've been throwing here, but what would AB do? I think he would throw a Luna. So I'm going with my more overstable one, just a touch of Anheuser, and it just holds it so well. I was really impressed. It got all the way down there. I think it's like a 360, 370 foot shot, but it kind of got trapped behind these trees. I think this green is just so unique and so cool at Town Lake. It's one of my favorite ones where it always challenges you to put the disc in the right spot, even if you're close like this. I was very, very surprised to be able to make that, but on those putts, make sure you're keeping those up. This one is about 370. It's a kind of a flip up pushing forehand. I tried to get there with that Nuke, but we ended up catching just the edge of that bush where I think we could have been pretty close within 15 feet there. So it leaves me with a much, much longer putt than I wanted. Like for me with this round, I was just kind of focusing on trying to get the disc up in the air, and it's all good. We're going on to a really fun tight hole. You really need a flippy putter on this one. So I'm going with that pink Big Z Luna because it's a little bit straighter. It's got a little bit more flip up, and I didn't throw this one too hard, but it flips up to flat and it has a lot of air under there. And this is me just kind of legitimately like, I don't know why these Big Z Lunas are just feeling so good, why they're flying so well for me, because when I've tried to put them in the bag previously, I haven't really done that well. So going up to the elevated pin on the putt, not quite the best putt, and that is a bogey. It's not great. We need to go pick up some birdies here. Going with the Z Swirl Nuke. This one's just a little bit flippier. I've thrown it a couple times as in previous videos, but I got the luckiest kick out of, I think, my life here. So this one ended up staying right in the middle of the fairway. It hits one tree and perfectly redirects it through the rest. I, again, don't know how it happened, but whenever disc golf trees and trees reward you, give you that tree love, you take it, and you need to go and cash in whenever that happens. So we got a birdie there. I normally am throwing forehands on these types of shots, but again, I'm trying to think about, what is he going to throw? Probably throwing Big Z Luna. So this one, straight at the pin, it's right uphill. It's really not that far of a hole. I think it's 225 maybe, and pretty much just parked it. So I decided to try to throw what I would normally throw here, which is a Z zone. Still got there. Definitely not quite as close here, but this is the fun part of these videos, right? It makes me throw different shots. I 100% got better in this video. I would say in two different areas. I like throwing putters over mids if I can, and the Big Z Lunas are pretty good. Like, I could see myself putting both of those in the bag to pair up with my P3X. That's really the only putter I throw is a P3X. That's it. So we might keep those in the bag, just approaching there with the zone, just to get up and down for a 3. This is in a much, much, much tougher hole than you think. And then we're going on to a par 4. You got to go down this little tunnel, end up in the left because it's in the long pin location. Going with the really, really flat, stiff Nuke OS. Man, it feels good to just be able to rip on that overstable disc, get me out to the left. This one's probably a little bit more beat in, the one that he has, if we're being real with ourselves. And again, normally I'm throwing a forehand in, but I decided, okay, let's keep throwing this Big Z Luna. And maybe I'm getting to the point where I'm more comfortable throwing backhand approach shots, but at the beginning of this year, at least before my channel even started, that wasn't the case. But we're able to make that one. I didn't notice that the CT Swirl plastic was giving some chunks out of it here and there. So I don't know, if you guys throw those or putt with those, let me know. And I'm going with the 4-claw zone, or 4-claw buzz here. He says this is the furthest flying buzz. So on this really long par 4, I wanted to get to this spot. So it was a decent drive off the tee with my buzz, and leaves me again, instead of going with the forehand, trying to turn in the Luna. I don't know if I would have the confidence to do this if I'm just being real with myself in a tournament. I still would probably throw a forehand in, but like, again, it's building a lot of confidence. That's what I think is so fun about trying different bags and not just throwing the same discs over and over again. And this one is just an awkward long pad to short pin. It's probably my least favorite combination. Ended up kissing off the tree of that Anaxs, and I pretty much just threw it right into the basket to tap in. And we're going up to our last hole here. I know these kind of go quick, at least they feel like it's quick for me as I do these one take recordings. We're going with the Anaxs. It felt a little bit flippier. I was kind of surprised how flippy it was and how straight it was. Ended up just, again, kicking off a little bit of a tree there and at least giving me a chance to make a putt in the round.
Nope.
We go just off the top. We're going to tap out here to end the round. The Focus, pretty good putter. I get this disc now. So let's wrap up this video. Obviously, stars of the shows felt like they were the Big Z Lunas, and I learned a couple things about his bag. Now, a lot of pros are going to have the same disc with different stabilities. I highly recommend, once you find a mold and a disc you like, keep it in the bag. It's going to season in, it's going to become more understable. Once it gets to the point where it's not flying the same, add another one in there, add another one until you have a nice lineup where you've got 5 or 6 Nukes and Venoms, and they all do a little bit different things. Instead of having to try to build a perfect bag, right, with every single possible stability and flight numbers. Flight numbers just do not matter at the end of the day. So for me, Big Z Lunas, man, like, I like them every time I throw them, but then I'll throw a bad shot every now and then because of just the wing, and I'm like, maybe not. But I'm gonna actually add these into my actual bag that I use for tournaments, and we're gonna see how it goes, because I think the Big Z Lunas, it's really hard not to put these in the bag after you watch AB and Macbeth throw these so well. And it also helped him secure the victory, throwing that thing like 390 or 400 feet into circle one to park it. I mean, absolutely incredible event from AB. Congrats to him. And we're gonna have to see who wins this weekend at the Tour Championships. My money's on Calvin Heimberg. And I may or may not have bought a couple discs leading up to this just in case he won that are hard to find. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. I appreciate you guys watching.